RPGs, or role-playing games, are among the most enjoyable video games to play. In today's video, I will show you the top 10 best hardest RPG games of all time. So without any further ado, let's start this video. Number 10. Legend of Grimrock 2. Legend of Grimrock 2 is one of the greatest dungeon crawlers that hasn't been a Diablo clone in recent memory. Players must proceed with caution through the game's huge dungeons, which are littered with traps, riddles, and a plethora of creatures. Grimrock 2 offers a completely explorable open environment full of mysteries and wealth, unlike other dungeon crawlers. Number 9. We have The Last Remnant. Square Enix, the creators of the Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest series, created the game. The fighting in The Last Remnant, on the other hand, is significantly more difficult than in the aforementioned Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest games, since the confrontations are among the most difficult in JRPG history. Number 8. We have Bloodborne. The city of Iharnam has a significantly more horror-themed motif than any of the other Soulsborne titles. Yet there is an unusual beauty in the city's gloom, like something out of a gothic fairy tale. Bloodborne differs from the Dark Souls trilogy not just in its location, but also in its combat style, which is significantly more ferocious. Number 7. We have Pillars of Eternity. The modifications to fundamental stats and real-time fighting with a pause in Pillars of Eternity perplexed many players. This would not ordinarily be an issue if the game didn't require players to maintain 100% ability uptime across 6 characters, while the game is operating in real time. Number 6. We have Nioh. Team Ninja and Koei Tecmo Games present the next violent action game. A lone wanderer arrives on the coasts of Japan during the samurai era. In order to get what he desires, he must fight his way through the land's ferocious warriors and monstrous yokai. Nioh 2, the sequel, was launched in 2020 and promises a similarly terrible experience. Number 5. We have Divinity Original Sin 2. Divinity Original Sin 2's combat is both enjoyable and cruel. Both enemies and players have armor values that operate as second health bars, but also give crowd control immunity. As a result, doing the most damage in one round, sometimes known as alpha striking, is the optimal approach in Original Sin 2. Number 4. We have Fire Emblem Fates. All 3 titles in the Fire Emblem Fates series are regarded for being challenging turn-based RPGs. Each game in the series centered on a distinct gameplay style, with Conquest focusing on clearing entire stages for greater gold and experience. Fire Emblem Fates isn't a soul-crushing RPG, but the drastic difference in complexity between Awakening and the Fates series was startling at best. Number 3. Shin Megami Tensei series. It's difficult to single out a game in the Shin Megami Tensei series as the most difficult. Most entries in the franchise are as challenging as they are entertaining. Many Western players may be familiar with its subseries Persona, although the Megami Tensei games span hundreds of titles. These are all recognized for their challenging turn-based warfare and post-apocalyptic metropolitan landscapes. Number 2. We have Darkest Dungeon. It's also a lot more difficult. Many say that it is too severe to be considered enjoyable. Darkest Dungeon's turn-based combat is primarily percentage-based, similar to games like XCOM. Aside from the possibility of a character's death, few things are certain in this game. Players must control their sanity, or risk losing their hard-won characters to the terrible beasts that lurk in the shadows. Number 1. Dark Souls. Never before has a game elicited such a blend of sadness and accomplishment as Dark Souls. This series of games is often recognized as the most difficult ever created. While that may seem exaggerated, it is true. In Dark Souls, death serves as a teaching tool. The game's money needed to level up and improve equipment are dumped. Those souls are permanently gone if they die a second time. These are the top 10 best hardest RPG games of all time. Subscribe to my channel Games Puff and press the bell icon for more gaming videos. Also, share this video with your friends.